Just tell me, why is every single car in Uzbekistan a Chevrolet? Seriously, every single car. You look left, Chevy, right, Chevy. Even the taxis, Chevy. Police cars, Chevy. School buses? Guess what? Yep, Chevy. Let's try to find a BMW. Where is it? Are you a BMW? No? Oh, Chevy again. Oh, wait, I saw one. Nope, it is still Chevy, with a BMW badge photoshopped on it for good measure. Okay, let's get serious for a second. You are not hallucinating. This isn't a Chevy-themed amusement park. This is real life, in Uzbekistan. And just to prove it, in the first 2 months of 2025, Chevrolet held a staggering 82.4% market share. That's not a typo, and over 40% of those were just one model, the Chevrolet Cobalt. So how did one of the most car-deserved regions in the Soviet Union turn into a real-life Chevy showroom? Buckle up, because the answer is way deeper than just car preference. But before we dive in, smash the like button, subscribe, and let's go! Let's rewind to the middle 90s. Uzbekistan had just gained independence and needed two things: jobs and cars. Lots of both. So, in 1996, the Uzbek government signed a major joint venture with a South Korean company called Daewoo. Yes, that Daewoo. The same brand that briefly popped up in American dealerships with oddball compacts like the Lanos and Nubira. Together they built the Daewoo auto plant in Alaska. No, Asaka. It was the first modern car factory in Central Asia. High-tech, locally assembled, and bursting with national pride. And for a while, it worked. Nexias and Taikos rolled out non-stop. The country had wheels and jobs. But here's the twist. By 2000, Daewoo Group was crumbling under massive debt. One of the biggest corporate failures in Asian history. In 2002, Daewoo Motors was barely afloat. Enter General Motors. They swooped in, bought a controlling stake, and renamed it GM Daewoo. Slowly, the Daewoo brand faded away. Except in Uzbekistan. There Daewoo lived on. The Asaka plant was simply too big and too strategic to shut down, so it kept building Daewoo-branded cars. But under the hood, these were Chevrolets. In 2011, the transformation became official. The Daewoo badge disappeared. But let's be honest, the cars didn't change much. Here's where it gets wild. Most of these Chevrolets were never sold in the US. Ever heard of a Chevrolet Nexia? Probably not. Or the Damas, a shoebox-sized minivan that looks like a 90s Japanese K car. Still in production. These are unique to Uzbekistan and few export partners. Based on all Daewoo platforms, facelifted and rebranded again and again. Let's look at the Nexia. The original was based on a 1980s Opel Kadett. Nexia 2, same bones, new headlights. Nexia 3, same curves. Eventually it became the Cobalt. But not the Cobalt Americans remember. That one disappeared from US showrooms in 2010. The Uzbek Cobalt. It is actually a totally different car, designed by GM Brazil in 2011 for emerging markets. Same name, completely different DNA. It's like playing engineering telephone across 3 countries. So, when you see a fleet of Cobalts in Tashkent, remember, you are looking at 25 years of slow-motion evolution. And here's the thing, it worked because it was protected. Uzbekistan built a literal fortress around its auto industry. Starting in the 2000s, they imposed some of the highest import taxes on cars anywhere in the world. Won't just a Toyota from Kazakhstan? That will be 100% in duties. A BMW, double the price before you even register it. Meanwhile, locally built Chevys were tax-free, sometimes even subsidized with government-backed loans. And for years, foreign car dealerships were essentially banned. In many regions, the only showroom was a GM Uzbekistan outlet. In 2019, over 95% of all new cars sold in Uzbekistan were built by GM Uzbekistan. That's not a market, that's a monopoly with patriotic branding. But then came change. After 2016, the government began liberalizing. Import taxes started dropping. And guess who rushed in? China. In 2023, Uzbekistan imported over 73,000 new cars, and 80% of them were Chinese. Brands like Chevy, Haval, BYD. And they weren't just cheap, they were modern. Hybrids, EVs, touchscreen, adaptive cruise, Apple CarPlay. All for the price of a decade-old Spark. Suddenly, Uzbek TikTok lit up. Teens were flexing their Chevy Tigos with ambient lighting and digital dashboards. It wasn't just a car, it was a lifestyle. Chinese brands aren't just selling, they are building. Chery now assembles cars locally. That means no import tax, cheaper prices and local parts. Meanwhile, the Cobalt, Uzbekistan's bestseller, is still running on a platform from 2008. In 2022, Chevy ruled the roads. In 2024, 1 in 5 new registrations came from China. That's no longer a trend, that's a threat. Now let's talk about these Chevrolets again. The Labo, actually a Damas, which is actually a Suzuki Carry clone. It's rear-wheel drive, 3 cylinders, built for bread deliveries. Nexia 3, that's the old Awao, the one that vanished from the US in 2011. Still being sold, same interior, same platform, just a different beige. Most Uzbek Chevys are frozen in time, but they're durable, simple, dirt cheap to fix, built to survive. Is that brand loyalty? Or it's just the only option people had for 20 years? Because when a whole country only sells one brand, mechanics only learn one system, insurance is cheaper for one badge, taxi companies only list one model. It's not Chevy domination, it's Chevy default. But the default is being questionized. Chinese automakers are moving fast. They have these features, the tech, the style, and the price. It is a dangerous combo. So here's the prediction. In 5 years, Uzbekistan streets might look more like Beijing than Detroit. But until then, if you ever get lost in Central Asia, just look for the nearest Chevy. Statistically, you are already standing next to one.